What up? This is Rama Screen, and it's time for another celeb interview. And in the anticipation of Dating Amber, which arrives on demand and digital November 10th, I'm here talking with the stars of this movie, Fionn and Lola. Fionn and Lola, how are you?
Very good, very excited.
Yeah, great. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you for taking the time. And congratulations on the movie. I recently watched it. What a wonderful film. Both of you did so great in it.
Thank
So,
you.
Fiona and Lola, what was your reaction when you first read David's script? Because this is somewhat or loosely based on David's adolescent experiences. Is that correct?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that is correct. Yeah, Dave describes it as kind of semi autobiographical and kind of
Mm.
semi wish fulfillment. So that's how he'd describe it. And when I first read it, I remember reading it for the first time and just absolutely falling in love with the script. And I was laughing and crying and cringing and kind of went through a whole range of emotions reading it. So the moment I read it, I knew I wanted to be a part of it, and then luckily enough, I was given the opportunity to.
Yeah, I think that me and Fionn have both said before that, sometimes the script falls into your hands and you're like, oh, I really want to do this. But when this particular script came across the desk, it felt more like I really need to do this. And I was just enchanted by it from the start. Dave is incredible, both as a writer and director. And I think that we could tell straight away just how special this script was going to be.
This movie was set in my favorite year, 1995. I remember it like it was yesterday. The popularity of my favorite band, Oasis. As a matter of fact, Dave actually put in Oasis mention in the film.
Yeah,
So
you did.
exactly, that geeked me out. So Fiona and Lola, you guys don't look like you had grown up in the 90s, but in the movie you do. So here's a fun question for both of you. What were some of the 90s things or stuff from the 90s that you had to apply to your characters, Eddie and Amber?
Well, what's funny is so in the film, Eddie is listening to a Walkman a Walkman for a lot of the film, but because it's quite a chunky piece of equipment, we only had the headphones, so the cable just plugged into nothing. The cable was just sitting in my pocket with nothing in it. So because I think someone asked me recently what I was listening to, or was I listening to the soundtrack while we were filming? But I was listening to literally just the noise of my pocket playing up through uh, the headphones. But we were so lucky that with all the kind of the costumes and hair and makeup and the set design as well, you just felt like you were taken not too far back in time, to 1995.
Yeah, I think it was strange. I think that my daddy loved, like, he was young during the 90s and I grew up listening to a lot of 90s music. So nothing was really too strange, but it was really great sort of every time we walked into a room or the school, or especially like the club scenes and stuff, you really felt transported, and having discussions with hair and makeup, and especially the characters of Janet and Tracy with their makeup and their hair, the crimped and the colorful eyeshadow sort of made you cringe a bit. So yeah, it was really exciting to do something period that was really fun.
Lola, I really enjoyed the fact that Amber was a bit of an entrepreneur with that Love Shack business she was running.
Yeah.
Clearly, Amber is a part of the film title. So, how would you describe her? Because to me, she's bold, she's feisty, she's not afraid of confrontations, but she's also protective of Eddie and she sees things in realistic ways. What was your impression of Amber and what drew you to her?
I think she's just an incredibly bold soul. I think that, she's not necessarily afraid of standing out. Sexuality was something that's a bit more different because, 2 years previous in Ireland, being gay was illegal. But she's not afraid to be herself. And I think that she understands more than Eddie does that for her, there is a life where she's out, and there is a life where she is a proud gay woman, but it's just not in Ireland. And so I think that she's just biding her time. And I think that really solidifies for her when she meets Eddie. And what starts as sort of this sort of deal to make things easier for them, Amber quickly realizes that it's no way to live, and it sort of, I think, in a way speeds up her coming out process. But I just think that she's an incredibly beautiful young woman. Like, me and Dave, the director, always joke that we want to be Amber Keenan when we grow up. If everybody had a friend like Amber, I think the world might be a little bit better.
I totally agree. And Fionn, Eddie is such a gentle soul who feels the immense pressure to be someone he's not. What were the conversations that you had with Dave in the process of shaping your character, and what was it like to step into those shoes?
Well, I think that one thing that was kind of different from anything I'd ever done, and I think the same probably goes for Lola, is that these conversations all happened together, and it was such an open dialogue. We were blessed with a lot of rehearsal time, so it meant that we'd so much time to just chat and talk about the characters and really break down not only kind of every kind of act, but every scene, and kind of really mine through the script and make sure we knew what we were doing from the moment we set foot on set. Um, but yeah, I think a lot, like a big conversation that we had, Dave and I, was about Eddie's physicality and how his physicality changes over the course of the film, and kind of the artifice of masculinity that he's built up, and how that slowly starts to break down. I guess what Lola was saying there, with Amber, realizing it's no way to live, and starting to feel more comfortable with her sexuality. Eddie works in reverse, that he kind of looks at this situation as an escape, and that he could live his life forever like that, which is really sad that he feels like that. I don't know if I'm now just starting to give away the plot of the film. But yeah, I think it's interesting that Eddie and Amber kind of work in reverse like that, but they're kind of constantly, yeah, the kind of opposites of one another. But really, I guess, with stepping into Eddie's shoes, I think for both Lola and I, we saw the film as one central performance, and that's Eddie and Amber's relationship together. And yeah, so we spent so much time chatting about it.
Let's get right to the heart of the matter, the themes of this film. Struggling to come to terms with your own sexuality is what teenagers all over the world have to go through and experience. We've all been there. Teenage years are very awkward. You know, you're not yet adult, but you're no longer a child. So, and you're going up against societal norms and expectations. So, I guess what I'm getting at is, what do you hope teenagers can take away from watching Dating Amber, and what advice would you give teenagers who are going through the same sexuality struggle in their lives?
I think that when we made the film, it was always in the back of our heads that we wanted it to be a joyous and hopeful queer film. Sometimes queer film can tend to sort of lean into darker themes. And, those stories are absolutely necessary and very important. But I think that queer people also deserve to know that their life is full of hope and can be full of joy. And that when you come out, there's an entire group and community of people waiting with open arms to love and accept you for who you are. And if you're confident in the magic of yourself, everybody else is going to be as well. I think that's really what was in the back of our mind when we were making the film.
Yeah, I completely agree. With Lola. This is a hopeful and joyous and optimistic queer story, and to see queer lives framed with hope and joy and optimism is incredibly important. And we've been so lucky that we've received so many messages from people who feel represented on screen, or feel like some of their experiences have been kind of accurately reflected on screen, which is amazing. That's kind of all you could ask for, is for people to feel like that. So yeah, I guess, yeah, that was the end of my point.
That's fine. Thank you for sharing that. All right. For my fans at home, everybody go check out Dating Amber, which arrives on demand and digital November 10th. Fionn and Lola, thank you for talking to me, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching the film as well.